The other live is acting wonky. Let's see who picks it up over here. Oh, my computer. This is a brand new computer. So why is this acting up? Oh my goodness. Oh, I am not quite sure what happened. My computer is brand new and I don't know why it just froze up so weird. And my internet was working fine the entire day, but now it's acting kind of wonky. Um. Anyway, I think I was saying that I was telling my husband about. We were talking about California, and he was saying it's very expensive. And I was saying to him, yes, it is very expensive. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Press number 1 if you guys can hear me before I start keep talking. Let me turn up my volume. Okay, thank you. So I was telling Evans, I was saying, California is very expensive. It's no doubt about it that it's expensive. However, there are people in California that are not struggling. They're doing very well. In fact, I know someone who was single and moved to California. And when she moved to California, she was making a certain amount of money, and everybody was telling her that it was not enough money for her to live in California, and people were discouraging her not to go. And I remember saying to her, yes, California is very expensive. It's no doubt about it that it is very expensive, but everyone in California is not struggling. Now, I don't know if anyone else encouraged her to go ahead and go, but I wasn't going to be like, oh, don't go and blah, blah, blah. And she had a job, but when she transferred her job, it was the same pay. She wasn't going to get a higher pay. Hey, thanks for coming in. Um, but after she got there, she kept getting raise after raise after raise. And as a single woman, no husband, she got married later, way later. But as a single woman, she purchased a home, a $500,000 home on her own with no husband. And at the time that she purchased her home, she didn't know her husband. She didn't know her husband, so she didn't get any money from him. You know what I mean? She did it on her own. So it's just to say that, you know, I don't think sometimes you do need to move. You do need to move. If a place no longer serves you, you do need to move, and you have to know when your time is up in a place and when it is time for you to go somewhere else. Sometimes that's just the way it is. It's time to go somewhere else. But it can also be that if you're going to a place, it has everything that you will need in that place when you get there. Um, so I'm just a firm believer in that. But sorry, I'm trying to I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, sorry about that. But I just believe sometimes we have to know when to move, when the place no longer serves us. Now, I was in Georgia before I moved to North Dakota. I'm not from Georgia, but I was living in Georgia. I have been living in Georgia for 4 years, having a hard time financially. And I heard about North Dakota on the news. Well, I always knew about North Dakota because I grew up here in the United States. I knew that was a, a, a place. Hello, good evening, thanks for joining. But I had never dreamed in a million years of moving to North Dakota, knew anybody here, never looked up North Dakota. But I was watching the news and I heard about North Dakota, and that's how I ended up here in North Dakota. Because after I heard about North Dakota on the news, I started doing some research. And this is in the height of the recession, back in the 2000s, the recession, and everybody, most people were struggling financially. There were no jobs. I remember in Georgia, they were having job fairs. They were having job fairs. Now, mind you, in the summertime, it's hot in Georgia. They would have job fairs. People were standing in line waiting to get into the job fair. I never went because it was so hot. And when the news started saying, people were passing out and blah, 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 I was like, I'm not going out there standing out there in the heat. First of all, I get sweaty at the drop of a dime. Second of all, I have asthma. And the heat does not set well with me. So I'm not going. Yes, there are black folks here. There are black folks here. Um, but it was so disheartening because the news started reporting that people were going to these job fairs, waiting in line for hours to get in, dressed up, work office attire with a jacket and all that stuff. And they get inside and there was no one hiring. Can you imagine? Now you're in desperate need of a job. Man, go on somewhere. Child support, I'm married to my baby daddy, the father of all 4 children. Okay? I don't have time for your shenanigans. Get off of here with your foolishness, okay? Unless you need some spiritual awakening and some prayer. Go on somewhere, find something else to do. Anyway, so, see what I tell y'all about the trolls and the losers in life that have nothing better to do? They're losing in life, so they come on other people's YouTube to make themselves feel better. But if I let that distract me from what I'm here for and get discouraged and stop coming on YouTube because somebody don't have no life, anywho. So people get inside of the job fair and there was no one hiring. No one hiring. There were schools recording, trying to sign people up to go back to school, and military trying to sign people up to go into the military. Can you imagine? You need a job. You have bills to pay. You possibly have children to take care of. You stood in line in the hot sun, sweating, risking having a heat stroke, and then you get inside and nobody's hiring. They're talking about sign up for college, join the military. Thank God for the people who did join the military, because some of us aren't going to do it. Some of us don't need to be in the military. Thank God for those who did. I have people who served in the military. But can you imagine? It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So, but you have to know when your time is up in somewhere where somewhere no longer serves you and you need to go to a better place. And that's what happened with me. Georgia no longer served me. So I moved to North Dakota, not knowing anyone. Not knowing anyone. It was just me and my husband. We didn't have any children when we first came here. Well, now we're married. We have 4 kids and all that stuff. But we We moved and we told other people, hey, you can come here, you can start over financially, it's affordable. Well, back then, apartments were the price of apartments in New York. I mean, now, since the pandemic, apartments are ridiculously high. Ridiculously high. But back then, here an apartment could go for like $2,000, which was ridiculous. You can find an apartment here now for 600 and something dollars. Now we do have more expensive apartments, but you can still find an apartment here for $650, $800, $900, or what have you. But back then, apartments were very expensive. But when you're making so much money, we came during the height of the oil boom, and people were making so much money that police officers were quitting and going to work in the oil field. It was hard to keep police officers because if you can make 5-10 grand in a month, unless you really have a heart for law enforcement, you're not going to stay in law enforcement. You're going to go where the money is. So anyway, but I try to encourage people to move here. People that I knew that were struggling, and they refused to move. What were they stuck on? Oh, it's cold. We even still have family now. When are y'all going to leave there? When y'all going to leave this cold place? And it's not cold all the time. And you're talking about the cold, but yet you're complaining about the price of rent in Miami is so expensive. You're paying $2,000 for a studio apartment, but you refuse to move because you've been living there your whole life. Everyone you know is there. Like, who cares? Because if you have a financial problem, those same people that you refuse to move for, they're not able to help you financially. So anyway, you got to know when to move. You got to know when to move when a place no longer serves you. And if you're not going to move, you got to hone into your gifts and figure out how to make some money outside of a job. And people used to tell me all the time, everyone is not going to start a business. Everybody isn't going to be a business owner. Maybe you may not start a business and have 15 employees. However, you need to have some income in addition to your job. Because I have said it over and over and over again, and I know it's not proper English, but these jobs ain't loyal. These jobs ain't loyal. Amazon just announced by accidentally leaking an email, they're laying off 16,000 people. 16,000 people. How many people have gotten laid off from other companies in the last year? If you go back through my YouTube channel, look at old videos, you'll see how many companies have been laying off for years. I have done videos on people getting laid off. Not last year, the year before. UPS. Their union struck a record-breaking deal for their drivers. What did they do a few months later? Laid people off. And I'm all for the union. I believe unions are a good thing. But I believe in the climate that we're in, it's not the time to be demanding more money without having a plan. Because you can demand more money and they say yes, but then what happens when, okay, they gave you more money, but now they're laying off people. And you're one of the people that get laid off. And people may be, mad and don't like my message. But the fact of the matter is most Americans are in debt. Most Americans are in debt. They bought a home using the spouse, husband and wife, or whatever the spouse is made of these days. They use the two income to purchase a house. Because now some places they may not be able to purchase a home using just one income. But most people, you want to buy the brand new home because you want to look good to impress other people. Then you have husband has a car, wife have a car, and they're both on a car note. So you got a house that you had to buy with two incomes. Then you have two cars, newer cars, and they're both on a car payment. And the average car note is over $700. And then you have insurance on a new car. Very expensive. And people don't want to work to make income outside of their job. But then when they get laid off or there's thoughts of layoffs, they're in a panic. Oh my God, what am I going to do? We got to learn to monetize our gifts. Monetize your genius is what I like to call it. Monetize your genius. We all have something that we know and do that someone else would be willing to pay you for. If it's nothing more than making meal plans, if you know how to put a meal plan together, you can package that and sell it to other people. You can sell it to daycares because daycares have to be compliant with what they serve or what have you. You can sell that to daycares. You can sell it to busy parents that want to make, yes, writing fiction on Kindle, or even just writing your own story. And you don't even need a publisher these days. That's the thing. You can. It used to be if you wanted to be on TV, you had to have an agent. You had to have all these things to get on TV. Nowadays, you make your own show. How? You get on YouTube and start talking about what you know, or what you can do. Or, God forbid, some people get on YouTube acting a fool to make some money. I hope that's not you guys, but y'all know what I mean. I have a book. When I learned how to fix my credit, let me tell y'all a story. When I first started, I'm not against America. I'm not against America. When I started my home care business and started making money, I went to buy a car and I was denied because of my credit. That made me so mad. I went and learned how to fix my credit. Once I learned how to fix my credit, I brought my credit score up. Now, I didn't go get a car on payments. I didn't go get a car on payments after that. But after I learned how to fix my own credit and I figured out what works, and it really works, I wrote a book and sold it to other people. And then I had people that bought the book, but they were like, Chante, I don't want to do it. Can you do it for me? So I repaired their credit and helped people get their credit together so they could buy a home. We all know something that we can package and sell to someone else. I didn't have a publisher to write my book. I wrote my book using my computer, and then I uploaded it to not Kindle. I have books on Amazon now, but when I first wrote my first book, it wasn't on Amazon. It was on, I can't remember the name of the platform, but the platform didn't cost me anything. I didn't pay until someone purchased the book and then they took a portion of the profit. So it didn't even cost me anything. It didn't cost me anything. I got someone on Fiverr to make the cover, and that was like $25-50 for them to make the cover for the book. I put it on Gumroad. Gumroad, it was no fee. I don't know if it is or not, but back then it wasn't. It was no fee. I didn't pay anything until someone purchased the book, and they took their fee out of the profit. 15,000 words on my novel. I graduate in May, and I'll have more time to keep writing. See, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. But, come on, let's monetize our genius. Take what you know, package it and sell it. I'll be doing some more videos on that. If you're new here, last year I did a 5-day challenge. 5-day